Shalom to the royal family of Israel. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to the Most High Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh, B'Hashem, Mashiach, Yahushua. I want to give a salutation to all the mighty men, mighty women, and mighty children of Israel. And today's lesson is, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad.
Yes, folks, oppression makes a wise man mad. And why wouldn't oppression make you mad? I mean, if you're getting oppressed, if someone's got their foot on your neck, are you supposed to be happy? You know, there's this gaslighting where Esau's convincing everybody that slaves were happy. I promise you, slaves weren't happy. You guys only know about a handful of slave uprisings. What you don't know is that there were hundreds of slave uprisings and lots of Edomites got slaughtered. Because why? Oppression maketh a wise man mad. We all know about the story about the black man who jumped over the bench and proceeded to unload on this judge. Let's get into it.
Mr. Almaci is here now.
Good
morning. All right, this is on for the continuation of Mr. Redden's sentencing. When we were last here, arguments were concluded and the court had begun to pronounce sentence when an incident occurred, an incident initiated by Mr. Redden, preventing the court from completing sentencing. That is the sole purpose for today's hearing. Any other issues that may arise from the events that occurred last Wednesday will be handled at a future date by a different court. For purposes of the record, I want to make it clear that I am not changing or modifying the sentence I was in the process of imposing last week before I was interrupted by defendant's actions. I am making my calendar page from that day an exhibit for the court. It's as it existed the moment I walked in, prior to anything happening. Nothing's been changed, indicating the sentence I intended to impose. I'll let you with that for a moment. All right, that being said, in accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court does now sentence you in addition to the $25 administrative assessment fee, $150 DNA fee, the $3 DNA administrative assessment fee, and $250 indigent defense fee, 19 to 48 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. How much credit for time served does he have?
It's 0 days. He was on probation when he committed the offense and was revoked on probation to serve the jail time October 25th. That time it expired at or about the time of the plea. So
0 days credit. Mr. Almaci, if that's different, let us know. We'll fix it.
I will.
The motion to quash mandatory is moved at this point. And for the record, I just reflexively wrote 0 days credit time served on the notes because of what I just said. So that is an addition as of right now.
That's correct. The probation case number, just for the record, is C370775.
Thank you. Mr. Almaci is here now.
Good
morning.
Man who attacked Las Vegas judge in shocking video faces 13 new charges. A convict captured on video violently attacking a Nevada judge while being sentenced on a recent battery charge this week is set to reappear in court next week on more than a dozen new charges, while the judge was back to work a day after the incident. Deborah DeLone Redden, 30, was slated to appear in court Thursday to face new charges, but refused to attend the hearing, according to the Associated Press. Online, Clark County Jail records show Redden remained jailed without bond Friday, and the court date was rescheduled for Tuesday morning. The attack took place as District Court Judge Mary Kay Holt thus attempted to sentence the 30-year-old defendant during a hearing after being convicted of attempted battery causing substantial bodily harm. In November, Redding pleaded guilty to the reduced charge and was released from custody. Court records show he was initially charged in connection to a baseball bat attack with felony assault with a deadly weapon. Nevada Department of Corrections records show that in 2021, he also served prison time following a third offense domestic battery conviction. I just can't with that history. During the hearing, Redding, who was unshackled, standing next to his attorney, said to the judge, I'm a person who will never stop trying to do the right thing. No matter how hard it is, I'm trying. And she responded, I appreciate that, but I think that it's time that you get a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. Nah, expletive, that, he immediately exclaimed, then ran towards the judge, flinging himself over the bench, pulling her to the floor by her hair. After the assault, at least 3 other people in the courtroom worked to pull Redding off the judge. One, a court clerk, is seen on video repeatedly hitting Redding. After the attack, an image provided by the court shows the judge standing behind the bench holding her head in her hand. The judge suffered minor injuries, and a courtroom deputy suffered a gash to his head and a dislocated shoulder, the Associated Press reported. 13 new charges filed. Jail records show Redding now faces 13 new charges, including coercion with force, intimidation of a public officer, extortion, and multiple counts of battery on a protected person.
So you see, inmate Redding, he displayed madness. That's what he did. And the so-called Blacks, Hispanic, and Native Americans, we're all captive of Babylon the Great. We have to endure over-policing. We have to endure growing up in abusive households. We have to endure growing up in not traditional households according to the Bible, where there's a father and a mother and they're caring and supportive. No. We have to go to ghetto schools. Or if you decide to take us and go to Edomite neighborhoods, we have to deal with the tyranny of children who are worse than their adult parents, worse racists. We have to deal with the police. We have to deal with first hired, last fired. We have to contrary to popular belief, the number one group of people who experience the most physical violence are Black males. Overwhelmingly, we are battered and abused at a young age by everyone. Let me get the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 7. Read.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, verse 7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart.
The oppression that the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have to endure will cause a wise man to go mad. Look at what happened with this guy, inmate Redding. Look what happened to him. He snapped, jumped over the bench. Was it wise to do that? Was it wise to jump over a bench and attack a judge, a sitting judge in Babylon's world, and beat her to a pulp? Was that wise? Or was he a fool for that? You know what? Let's get the Strongs on what mad means.
Strong's H1984, a primitive root, to be clear, originally of sound, but usually of color, to shine, hence to make a show, to boast, and thus to be clamorously foolish, to rave, causatively, to celebrate, also to stultify.
Out of all of these different definitions, please pay attention to that word rage. This man completely went insane. And that's the kind of stuff that we have to go through all the time, ladies and gentlemen. The strongest people walking around on the face of the earth is the Black man and Black woman. Overwhelmingly, out of all the tribes of Israel, the Judah man and Judah woman are by far the strongest mentally, emotionally, and physically. Why? Because we can't hide behind our skin color. A lot of you 10 tribes, with the exception of Simeon, and of course I'm not talking about the house of Judah. So this doesn't include the house of Judah or Simeon. We can't hide behind our skin color. But for the rest of you people, it's easy to hide behind. We can't. So we take the brunt of brutality everywhere we go. Let me get the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 9. Read.
The book of Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 9. Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry, for anger resteth in the bosom of fools.
There's that word again, fools. Another word, mad. The scriptures say, don't be hasty in your spirit to be angry. It would have been better. I want you to think about this. Israelite man and Israelite woman, this is for you blacks, Hispanic and Native Americans. When you get into a situation where somebody's making you angry, you need to think about it. Think. The Bible says, don't be hasty. Take a minute. I want you to think about the consequences that can happen to you. Why? Because it says, for anger rests in the bosom of fools. So when he got 13 new charges. Is he ever going to see the light of day? Hell no. He's done. Let me get the book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 17. Read.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 17. He that is soon angry dealeth foolishly, and a man of wicked devices is hated.
He that is soon angry dealeth foolishly. What happens oftentimes when you're mad? All of the most profane things come out of your mouth. You oftentimes do what? Plot revenge. Look, and a man of wicked devices, right? Your wicked schemes. You're angry at your neighbor because they play their music loud. So what do? You throw a Molotov cocktail? Well, so what happens? You kill his whole family? Now you get the death penalty depending on what state you live in. Why? You got angry. Why? Because they played their music loud. That was their offense. They played their music loud. Where's that in the law, statutes, and commandments that I can't play my music loud? As a matter of fact, they played their music loud. That didn't cause for you to, here's what you should have did. Go over there and go talk to them. That's what you do. Let me get the book of James chapter 1, verse 19. Read.
The book of James chapter 1, verse 19. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God.
Did you know that the Most High is slow to anger? He's slow to anger. We are in the image of the Most High God. So-called blacks, Hispanic, and Native Americans. If he's slow to anger, why are we swift to anger? Some people are so goddamn fragile. One wrong word, and it's boom, I'm gonna blow it up, blow up the relationship, blow up the family, get fired from your job, commits crimes, go to jail. You're wanting to do it all? Right here it says, let every man be swift to hear. A lot of us are mad, and I mean mad in the sense of we're insane. And we're insane, why? Because we're going through the curses. Let me get the book of Matthew, chapter 13, verse 15. Read.
The book of Matthew, chapter 13 and verse 15. For this people's hearts is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them.
So right here, the Lord is straight up telling you, there are some Israelites that the Lord on purpose shut up their eyes, shut up their ears, so they can understand keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. They can't understand the breakdowns of these scriptures. They'll say that the gospel is for everybody and everybody can get into the kingdom of heaven and salvation is for everybody. Even though the Most High clearly says that there are people that he hates, the Lord shut up your eyes and he shut up your ears, because look at what the Lord says. He says that if he didn't do that, he would be obliged to heal you. And he don't want to do that. He wants to destroy you. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Do you see what the Most High God said? He said, because we refuse to obey his law, statutes, and commandments. Now we about to go over some of these curses, because these are some of the things that can cause a man or a woman to go mad, which means insane. Let's get some. Let me get the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 16. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
So you got to imagine, in the city, You got plenty of black men standing before a criminal court judge, about to see their life get flushed down the toilet, no longer being able to see your children. Now, we're not here at all in any way, shape, fashion, or form to politic for inmate Redding. We're not here to do that. Nope, he decided he wanted to flip out and jump over that bench and put the smack down on that white she-devil. So he gonna have to deal with the consequence. Yahweh said, if it's possible, be at peace with others. That's what he said. But we're the ones that's cursed in the city. We're the ones that live in the ghettos, high divorce rate, low marriage rate, high abortion rate, high imprisonment, low college enrollment for men, high single parent household, high crime, over-policed, high poverty, and now audacious homosexuality. And how are we cursed in the field? Slavery.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other.
Let me get the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 28. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart.
So if you sit down and look at what we have to go through all the time, that's the kind of thing that brings you to mad. I want you to imagine you're a black woman who sees her husband getting torn to shreds, having his arms and legs tied to 4 different horses, and the horses go in 4 different directions, having your children taken away from, being incredibly raped out of your mind. That's the kind of stuff that'll bring an astonishment of heart. Let me get the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 29. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 29. And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness. And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
Can you please focus on the fact that it says that thou shalt not prosper in thy ways? And what are some examples of us not prospering? I know we're all aware of what happened with Black Wall Street. And Black Wall Street wasn't the only thing that happened. Anytime it was an opportunity for us to be successful, Esau came in and took that away from us. Every time. Do you know how Amalek is right now? They stole that from us. Financial acumens, the way that we did. The Jews, the blacks, Hispanic, and Native American, the Jews in particular, the house of Judah, we were the ones who controlled financial industries everywhere we went. Whether we were in Spain, Ireland, it doesn't matter. Russia, we controlled the trade. We were always the money man, the exchangers, the middlemen. And Amalek came and stole that concept away from us, sent us into slavery. Right here it says, thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt only be oppressed. When a black man goes to go get a loan, they may give him $10,000 and they expect a return on that investment within 90 days. Whereas let any of the 17 nations, and that includes you people who come from the continent of Africa, come to the United States, they'll give you $1 million loan and be like, yeah, you can start your payments next year. You see that? You shall only be oppressed and spoiled evermore. They take everything from us, and no man shall save you. However, we will have someone save us. His name is Yahweh. Let me get the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 30. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes thereof.
Can you imagine you marry a woman, and before you lie down with her, the slave master and his horde of henchmen they gotta run a train on her real quick. Then you can have her after she's all decimated. That's what the Lord said. But why did the Lord make us go through any of this stuff right here? We did not hearken upon the voice of the Lord to obey his law, statutes, and commandments. So he had to do this to us. Thou shalt build a house and not dwell. Who you think built the White House? Black people did. We don't live in it. We never had a black person in there. You mean the Negro? No, because Barack Obama is a Hamite. He is an African booty scratching Hamite that don't care about the Negroes, the descendants of Israel. He don't care about us.
I am sick and tired of allowing black people to get away with calling themselves Christians, and they're just black.
Let me get the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 32.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand.
Don't we go through that right now? The number one population of mothers that get their children taken away, black mothers. And guess what? The likelihood of them getting those kids back, very, very low. And that's the sad part, ladies and gentlemen. And even for the black man, his children get taken away from him all the time. Number one in paying child support, black men. Check it out. In every state, black men are number one in paying child support. And some people say, oh, you guys are not responsible. What do you mean? You know how easy it is to just allow that father to have a relationship with his children? And if you get with a guy and he's some kind of a bum ass nigga who had no intentions on being a daddy, then why in the world would you lay there and crack your legs open? And I don't want to hear you got fooled because you should have got married first before you got pregnant. Let me get the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 34. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 34. So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see.
So once again, we see the word mad. That is the title of this lesson. Oppression. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. And right here, the scriptures are telling you, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. So what are some of the things that we get a chance to see? We get to see little black boys getting pulled up on by the police and shot dead. Oh, look at how fast everyone forgot about that. We got to see Breonna Taylor, who was innocently lying in her own apartment in the bed and got blasted to death. It's funny how the boyfriend never got touched. That right there drives you mad. Seeing George Floyd get choked out while the guy had his hand in his goddamn pocket. So yeah, you got stabbed up by Issachar in prison. Oh well, these are the things that dropped Trayvon Martin getting shot to death. You know what would have been cool with Trayvon Martin is if that guy, Satan Zimmerman, didn't follow him. How about that? How about you don't take it upon yourself to arm yourself to follow him? You Edomites think that y'all could just blast us in the streets and get away, and then you wonder why that doesn't drive us absolutely insane. As a matter of fact, let's find out what mad means in this context.
Strong's H7696. A primitive root to rave through insanity. B, play the madman.
Do you see that? To rave through insanity. Isn't that what this man did out there in Las Vegas? On one point, he seemed calm. And then just like that, he said, and jumped over that desk. He flew over that thing. He juda'd over that. He cleared it like he was an Olympian. He cleared it and got that cave bitch. That's what he did. That's what the man did. Let me get the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 46. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 46. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things.
When you're driving down the street and you want to eat at McDonald's and you pass by the building that looks like McDonald's and you look up, what's the first thing you see? A sign. You see golden arches. That's a sign. That tells you that that's McDonald's, even though it's a gross restaurant. So signs tell you something. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know if you're an Israelite, guess what? These prophecies right here are a sign that tell you, black man, Hispanic man, Native American man, that tell you, children of Israel, that you are the Israelites. And they shall be, what's the they? These curses. These curses shall be a sign and for a wonder and upon thy seed. So we're the seed. We're the seed because these people right here who got this information were in Mount Sinai. Moses was talking to them. These are the people in Exodus who came out of the hands of the goddamn Egyptians. They came out of captivity. Those very same people, we're their seed. So we're a sign and a wonder. This proves we're the Israelites, ladies and gentlemen, because this ain't happening to nobody else, especially the fake Amalek, Khazarian, Jewish bastards that dwell in Ashdod. Let me get the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 50, read.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor shew favor to the young.
So they don't care if you young or old. Let me get the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 66, read.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 66. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have non-assurance of thy life.
Hey, black man, Mexican man, Native American man, ain't that you? Ain't that you every time you leave your house, get in your car, and a cop is behind you, and he's behind you less than a car length? Why? He's checking that license plate. He's looking for a reason to pull you over. Thy life shall hang in doubt. You people that are growing up in the hood, you walk outside of your house, you don't know if you'll be walking back in that house because your own people can take it. You never know where it's coming from. You're going to fear day and night. There's no assurance. Oh, don't worry, I'm coming home. That might not happen. We are going through these curses. It would be so beautiful if we were back in Jerusalem, but that didn't happen. We got sacked in 70 AD and had to wind up going where? To the hills of Africa, high now. That's what happened. But you know what's interesting is, how did we get to Egypt in the first place? How did we get there? We walked. That's how we got it. And then they enslaved. And then the Lord sent us a savior. It was Moses who brought us out of the land of Egypt in the spirit of Yahweh, Bahashem Hamashiach Yahweh. But the Lord is going to take us back into Egypt, and we can get that in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
The Lord warned. Now, mind you, this was a prophecy. If we did not obey God's laws, statutes, and commandments, this is what the Lord would do to us. He said he would send us back into captivity. That's what Egypt. Egypt is synonymous with the house of bondage, that we will go into captivity again, and this time with ships. What's the only group of people that were slaves on slave ships in the bottom hull of those ships? It was us. And who's the us? The house of Judah. We went in 1619. Hispanic and Native Americans were afflicted in 1492. All of us, the entire house of Israel, have gone into slavery on ships. But right here where it says, ye shall be sold to your enemies for slave men and slave women, and no man shall buy you. Which means that nobody's going to redeem us. No one can come and say, you know what? Here, let me buy his freedom for you. No, that did not happen, folks. The Lord said it wasn't going to happen. But it says you're going to be sold to your enemies. Wait a minute. We need to find out who's our enemy. Who are the enemy? Let me get the book of Psalm chapter 83, verse 1. Read.
The book of Psalm chapter 83 and verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O God, Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God.
So this is King David, and he's making a prayer to the Lord, and he's praying to the Most High. Don't be silent, and hold not your peace, and don't be still.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
I got news for you. All non-Israelites hate God. And you know why you hate God? Because he has a chosen people that's special unto him, and it ain't you. And you always keep trying to convince black people that Jesus love everybody and God love it. Why do you keep trying to convince me? If you believe that, you don't need to convince no niggas about that. As long as black people don't believe that, it drives you up the wall. Right here, King David is saying, thine enemies make a tumult, an uproar. The scriptures even ask, why do the heathens rage? And we can get that in the book of Acts, chapter 4, verse 25. Read.
The book of Acts, chapter 4, verse 25, who by the mouth of thy servant David hath said, why did the heathen rage, and the people imagine vain things? The kings of the earth stood up, and the rulers were gathered together against the Lord and against his Christ.
Remember, King David said that these people, they hate you. Well, what people are we talking about? Who are the enemies? It said that watch this, the kings of the earth stood up. Those are the enemies, ladies and gentlemen. The rulers were gathered together against the Lord. You mean you're gathered against the creator of all? Why do you rage? Because the Lord ain't got nothing to do with you. That's why. Let me get the book of Psalm chapter 83, verse 3, read.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones.
So it says they have taken crafty counsel. They didn't just take counsel. They taken crafty, sneaky, devilish, demonic counsel. Against who? Against the people of the Most High God, who they call the hidden ones. You blacks, Hispanic, and Native Americans that think that you nothing but niggas, spicks, and Indians. The Lord says that you are his favorite, you're chosen, his pleasant plant. But you don't know that. You have no idea, and you don't even consider it.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
So that's the crafty counsel, ladies and gentlemen. Let's cut them off from being a nation. That's why you have those fake Khazarian, Amalek, Jewish bastards that dwell in Ashdod, which is Israel, by the way. They got the whole world thinking that they're the Jews. And the world is convinced about that, ladies and gentlemen, right? They even know that they're not Jews. And it said, let's cut them off. Cut who off? This cannot possibly be talking about the Amalek, Khazarian Jewish people, because they think that they're the Jews. How the hell are you cut off? Right here, look at it says, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. That's what their plan was, so that you so-called blacks, Hispanic, and Native Americans will not consider yourself to be what? An Israelite. You think you're a Puerto Rican, a Mexican, a black, African American, Negro, Cuban. You're anything else other than a child of the Most High God.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
They are in sync. So a lot of times when we make accusations, according to the Bible, that Arabs participated in the slave trade, they get angry. Or when we say that African booty scratching Nilote Hamites participated in the slave trade, they get angry. Whenever we make the accurate accusation according to scripture, according to history, of all of these nations that have afflicted us, including the Chinese, the Japanese, the Koreans, they all get angry. But here's the deal, folks. All of you guys were with one consent. You all agreed to do what? To be confederate against the Most High God. Let's go over God's hit list. These are the enemies of the Most High God.
The book of Psalm, chapter 83, verse 6. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Asher also is joined with them. They have holpen the children of Lot. Selah.
So right here, this is the most wanted list. That the Edomites, the Caucasians, the Arabs, the Chinese, the African booty scratchers, more African booty scratchers, the Japanese, the fake Jewish Khazarian bastards, the Palestinians, African booty scratchers, and the Assyrians. You guys, the Most High's coming to get you. That's a promise. And you know what's going to happen when he comes? The Lord's going to get vengeance on you. And we can get that in the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 1. Read.
The book of Obadiah, chapter 1 and verse 1. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions.
So this book is about the destruction of the white man. But I want you to pay attention to verse 17. It says, Mount Zion, which are the Israelites, are going to be saved, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions, which means we're going to be rich as hell. Well, whose possessions are we going to possess? The white man. Esau, Mount Seir, the Edomites, Idumea. Let's not even beat around the bush. Let's get verse 18. Let's go right to the destruction of Esau. Read.
Verse 18, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame.
We're talking about the house of Judah and the house of Israel, all 12 tribes. Read.
And the house of Esau for stubble.
So that's the white man, and it says you're going to be for stubble. You know, that's something that's burned all the way down to stubble. Read.
And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it.
There won't be any more of the house of Esau. This is a promise, ladies and gentlemen, by the Lord. There's no more of you anymore. Done. When you're done with your slavery, you're evaporated off the face of the earth. Your spirits are just going to be sitting in there in the third heaven, and that's it. The rest of you, gone. Let's talk about Ishmael. Let me get the book of Jeremiah, chapter 41, verse 3. Read.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 41 and verse 3. Ishmael also slew all the Jews that were with him, even with Gedaliah and Mizpah and the Chaldeans that were found there, and the men of war.
So you see what Ishmael did. They slew the children of Israel. However, they were instrumental in the sub-Saharan African slave trade.
The largest slave population in history was held by the Arab Muslim slave trade, which lasted for over 1,300 years. The Arab Muslim slave trade enslaved the following. 1. Africans. The majority of slaves in the Arab Muslim slave trade were of African descent, particularly from regions of sub-Saharan Africa. These individuals were captured or sold by African intermediaries and subsequently enslaved and transported to various parts of the Arab Muslim world.
Let's look at what they were responsible for. And it shall come, the book of Isaiah chapter 11, verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from, watch this, this is what these people, the Israelites, were responsible for, the Arabs. These are the Arabs from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea. And he set up an ensign for the nations and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. These people were responsible for that sub-Saharan African slave trade. So you ain't getting away with it. As a matter of fact, just in case you're confused about what the Lord is going to do to you, let's get the book of Ezekiel chapter 30, verse 5. Read.
The book of Ezekiel chapter 30, verse 5. Cush and Put and Lud and all Arabia and Libya and the people of the land that is in league shall fall with them by the sword.
Hey, Arabians, do you see yourself on this list? The Lord says you're gonna fall by the sword. Now let's talk about the Asians, you K-poppers and C-poppers and J-poppers. Let me get the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 9. Let's see what's gonna happen with BTS and them. Read.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 9. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, surely Moab shall be as Sodom, and the children of Ammon as Gomorrah, even the breeding of nettles and salt pits, and a perpetual desolation. The residue of my people shall spoil them, and the remnant of my people shall possess them.
Hey, this is what's gonna happen to you Asians. Yeah, you will no longer be eating cats and dogs, folks. The Lord right here says that the Israelites, we're the residue of his people, are going to spoil you and we will possess you. You will be our slaves. You know what the Lord calls you, Chinese? Washpots. Now let's talk about you fake Khazarian, Ashkenazi bastards that dwell in Ashdod. Let me get the book of Exodus, chapter 17, verse 16. Read.
The book of Exodus, chapter 17 and verse 16. For he said, because the Lord hath sworn that the Lord will have war with Amalek from generation to generation.
That's playing upon tables, folks. The Lord said he's going to have war with you from generation to generation, and he's going to win.
I mean, the news is not going to show you this video. It's just way too scary for the public. What's really down there is not human. It's not for the public to understand it. I mean, I hope at least social media lets us show this because it's the truth. So this is footage of what we saw. The first time we went in, it was just a couple of us and we went to explore it. Now, what the news is showing you is one entrance under the Jewish synagogue in New York, but the real entrance, the other entrance, is on the south side. The south side entrance is where the real stuff is. It's the truth of how far back this tunnel dates.
Yeah. Yeah, they built them for World War II, right?
Yeah, but a lot of the burial shelters were built from existing tunnels. So, and the Victorians were notorious for just digging through and making new tunnels.
Dude, tunnels are awesome. People need to build more tunnels, so people like us can explore them. What the f*** was that?
Holy sh... Look? Anything there?
That came from the other side.
Where did that come from?
It came from the other side. Like it hit the metal thing on the door. A lot, man. People like probably get drunk here. They light things on fire. They break things. There's still the left side of the tunnel that we haven't explored just yet.
Well, I'm really careful with that.
What the f*** is that?
Yeah, this is where it gets interesting.
There's nobody here, dude.
Oh, what the hell?
It looks like someone's been chipping away.
It looks worse because of the chipping, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like the nose. It's like there's like a nose where the nose is.
Stop moving, stop moving.
It's not even telling me. Yo, look what it says. Have you seen it? It says, have you seen it?
What the f***? And that noise came from that area.
Bro, there might be a psychopath down here, you know? Bro, are they painted on the walls, this stuff?
We've explored the hell out of this tunnel. It does go to a dead end and it comes out to a field. But we haven't explored the right side of it. Like there's more tunnels that we haven't seen yet. Like there's a lot more to check out. What is that?
Did you see it?
Yeah,
Did you see it?
yo, we're literally not alone here.
You guys saw that? Yeah. I think she got it. I wish, like, this is getting crazy.
Bro, you mentioned a psychopath?
I don't know, did you see the drawings on the walls in
Yeah,
there?
but like, there's a person or something in here walking around without a flashlight. That's a psychopath right there. Oh, I just heard someone. There's someone there.
After you, bro. Hello?
Dude, that was traumatizing. I don't want to go back in there.
Let's move forward.
I think I just want to go out that exit, man. Like,
I'm down for. Did you bring a shovel?
I don't know.
This way? Okay, try.
Guys, wait. Look what it says on the wall here. Murder backwards. Murder hole. Red rum.
This is when things get even more chilling. Just don't want to run into that at the desk. I think we should just head down. Oh?
What the f***?
Come on, let's go. I have to know.
Yo, we need to go.
Let me get the book of Ezekiel, chapter 25, verse 15. Find out what's going to happen to the Palestinians. Read.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 25, verse 15. Thus saith the Lord God, because the Philistines have dealt by revenge, and have taken vengeance with a despiteful heart, to destroy it for the old hatred Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I will stretch out mine hand upon the Philistines, and I will cut off the Chertims and destroy the remnant of the seacoast.
So look at what the Lord said. He already told you, because the Philistines have dealt by revenge and have taken vengeance with the spiteful heart. So he's going to destroy you. Why? Because you got at us. But let's actually find out what punishment he's going to give to you.
And I will execute great vengeance upon them with furious rebuke, and they shall know that I am the Lord when I shall lay my vengeance upon them.
Do you want to be on the business end of furious rebuke? Because that's what the Most High is going to give to you, Palestinians. You ain't getting away with it. Let's talk about the Assyrians real quick. And you African booty scratchers, we read about you already. Y'all going into slavery. The Lord is going to cut you down. Let's talk about the Assyrians. Let me get the book, Isaiah chapter 30, verse 31. Read.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 31. For through the voice of the Lord shall the Assyrians be beaten down, which smote with a rod.
So the Lord is going to beat you down. That's playing upon tables. You ain't getting away with nothing. You took the 10 tribes into captivity. The Lord is going to get his payback for you. They depended on you when they should have been dependent on the Lord. Hey, but let's get some good news here, folks.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 13, verse 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut up and die, but the third shall be left therein. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, It is my people, and they shall say, The Lord is my God.
This right here is for the Israelites only, whether you're a heathen or you practice the law, statutes, and commandments. 1/3 of the Israelites are going to be saved and make it into the kingdom of heaven after they've been tried by fire. 2/3, that's on 66%. That's the rest of you niggas. You guys are gonna die. Guaranteed you're going to the lake of fire. If you're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments and have faith in Yahweh, B'Hashem, Hamashiach, Yahweh Shah, you're going to the lake guaranteed. Then we get the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 1. And it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whither the Lord thy God hath driven thee, and shalt return unto the Lord thy God, and shalt obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul.
So we're going to come into remembrance that we're supposed to be keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. And we're going to remember these things, these blessings and curses that were set before us when the Lord scattered us amongst the Gentiles. But it's going to get good.
He hath said, which heard the words of God, and knew the knowledge of the Most High, which saw the vision of the Almighty, falling into a trance, but having his eyes open. I shall see him, but not now. I shall behold him, but not nigh. There shall come a star out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel, and shall smite the corners of Moab, and destroy all the children of Sheth. And Edom shall be a possession. Seir also shall be a possession for his enemies, and Israel shall do valiantly. Out of Jacob shall come he that shall have dominion, and shall destroy him that remaineth of the city.
And when he looked on Amalek, he took up his parable and said,
Amalek was the first of the nations, but his latter end shall be that he perish forever.
And he looked on the Kenites, and took up his parable and said,
Strong is thy dwelling place, and thou puttest thy nest in a rock. Nevertheless, the Kenites shall be wasted, until Asher shall carry thee away captive.
And he took up his parable and said,
Alas, who shall live when God doeth this? And ships shall come from the coast of Kittim, and shall afflict Asher, and shall afflict Eber, and he also shall perish forever.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 12, verse 8. In that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God, as the angel of the Lord before them.
I'm talking to you, men of Israel. When Yahushua comes back, you 1/3, you elect, we're going to be powered up, ladies and gentlemen. You know, Yahushua walked on water. We'll be walking on water too. Look at the scripture. It says, in that day, that's the day of the Lord, shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem. That is the 12 tribes of Israel. And he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, because David was a mighty man. And the house of David, that is the tribe of Judah, the house of David shall be as God. We will have God powers as the angel of the Lord before them. So no matter where you hide, Esau, you can be buried 100 feet deep in the ground, and we are going to dig you up. We're going to bust those doors open. We're going to yank you out of there. We're going to throw you in a pit. We're going to gather all you bastards up. We're going to put you into slavery.
And shall lay before them their evil thoughts and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame, and he shall destroy them without labor by the law which is like unto me.
So he's not going to be doing any stabbing and slashing. You know what he's going to do? Right here it says, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts, so all their sins, and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame. And watch this. And he shall destroy them without labor. He's not going to do any work by the law, which is like unto me. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. If you had any other gods before the Lord, like yourself, your kids, your job, your car, boom, gone. Let me get the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 3. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 3. That then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations.
So the Lord is going to take us out of captivity. Hey, Blacks, Hispanic, and Native Americans, the Lord's going to come back and take us out of captivity.
Whether the Lord thy God have scattered thee, if any of thine be driven out unto the utmost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee.
So no matter where you're at, those chariots are coming to get us. You will be saved. If you are chosen from before the earth was even created, no matter where you at, you could be in the darkest part of the world where they ain't got no electricity. Them chariots is coming to get you. You was already chosen. Let me get the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 5. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 5. And the Lord thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers.
So look at what the Lord said. The Lord said he's going to bring us to the land that was promised to Abraham. And look at the bottom, and multiply thee above thy fathers. For you people who don't think that we'll be having kids in the kingdom of heaven, ladies and gentlemen. And where do you think those spirits, those souls are going to be coming from? You think they're going to be coming from thin air? Stop being arrogant. You can't have a cultish mentality.
And the Lord thy God will circumcise thine heart and the heart of thy seed, to love the Lord thy God with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live.
Because we're going to have the laws in our minds, ladies and gentlemen. That's the new covenant. What people do, they get confused. They get grace confused with having the laws, statutes, and commandments in our mind. Don't confuse the two. And right here, the Lord says that the Yahweh will circumcise our hearts, which means we will have the laws, statutes, and commandments in our minds. And we're going to love the Lord with our hearts and with all our soul, that we are going to live. Now let's get to the good news. Let me get the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 7. Read.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 7. And the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee.
If you're a scoffer, just do me a favor. Go to Deuteronomy 28, verse 15 through 68. Just read it. Just read it on face value. All of those things that you read in Deuteronomy 28, verse 15 through 68, are going to come off of the Blacks, Hispanic, and Native Americans, and they're going to go on your favorite Edomite, favorite Ishmaelite, favorite Moabite, and so forth and so on. If you're not an Israelite by blood, because this is not a religion, if you're not an Israelite by blood, all of the curses that are affecting us is going on them. Is that good news or what? And if you want to know what's going to happen to your friendly neighborhood Edomite and the rest of his crafty council, Confederate bastards, let's read the book of Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1. Read.
The book of Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and will set them in their own land.
So we already read that in Deuteronomy, that we will go back to the land of Canaan, that was promised to Abraham. Go.
And the strangers shall be joined with them.
So these are the other 17 nations that are not Israelites by blood. Read.
And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob.
They're going to cleave to us. Why? Because we're going to have the law, statutes, and commandments.
The book of Isaiah chapter 14, verse 2. And the people shall take them.
So we're going to take them, right? Like you take possession of a jacket or a skateboard or some money. Read.
And bring them to their place.
So we're going to bring you with us to the land of Canaan. Read.
And the house of Israel shall possess them.
What happens when you possess something? Are you renting it or do you own it? We're going to own you. You know, the way you owned us, like a jackass or a pig. We're going to own you. Read.
In the land of the Lord for servants.
Wait a minute. For what?
For servants.
Wait a minute. For what?
For servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captive.
So y'all not coming in to be our friends. You're not coming in to be equal with us. We're not all going to be on the same playing field. You coming in to be a slave. Right here, and it says you're going to be captive. Read.
Whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors.
And they're going to rule over their oppressors, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to be playing tennis. We're not going to be playing chess. We're not going to be playing badminton. We're not going to be playing Super Mario Kart. We are going to rule over the people who have oppressed us. Well, I didn't do anything. Nigga, yes, you did. You did in your former life 3 generations ago, 6 generations ago, 9 generations ago, 100 generations ago, 500 generations ago. It was you. That was you. That was you that did that. And you are going to pay for it. The children will pay for the sins of their wicked father. So today, we just went over, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad. Yeah, we see this man right here in the image behind. He's raving mad. But that right there is a microcosm for the madness that is the Black, Hispanic, and Native American, for the impression that has been placed on us. But I got good news, folks. The Lord is going to take all of these curses, these curses that are driving us mad, and put it on our oppressors. And we're going to own them. And with that, shalom.
Shalom.
Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
All descendants of slaves from the west coast of Africa that are scattered all over the world are the children of Israel. American blacks, Negroes are from the tribe of Judah. You must obey God's laws.
This is a demonic world that's going to end in fire!